The world was stunned as news flashed across screens and social media feeds. Ukrainian drones had sunk a key Russian supply ship in the Caspian Sea, a place long thought to be beyond the reach of the war. Headlines blared from New York to Tokyo. Russia's safe logistical highway was ablaze, and the global community was left reeling at the audacity and precision of the strike. For months, the Caspian had been Russia's untouchable backyard, a secure and silent route for Iranian arms and vital supplies, far from the front lines and supposedly shielded from attack. That illusion shattered in a single night of fire and chaos, as explosions lit up the sky and the myth of Russian invulnerability was reduced to smoke and wreckage. Yakutsk, a high-value Russian cargo vessel, was burning and sinking in Astrakhan's port, its twisted metal a symbol of a new era in the conflict. This was no accident. It was a calculated, meticulously planned strike, executed with precision and intent. Russian media scrambled to control the narrative, calling it a technical fire, but the scale of destruction and eyewitness accounts told the real story. This was a deliberate act of war. Ukraine had just rewritten the rules of engagement, reaching deep into what Russia thought was safe territory, and proving that distance was no longer a barrier. The psychological blow was immense. The Caspian, once a Russian lake, was now a battlefield, its waters no longer a shield but a front line. Astrakhan, the final stop for Iranian arms before the Ukrainian front, was exposed as vulnerable, its strategic importance now a glaring weakness. Ukraine's intelligence and long-range strike capabilities had evolved rapidly, blending technology, daring, and real-time data to devastating effect. Suddenly, nowhere in Russia's rear was truly safe. The sense of security that once blanketed the heartland was gone, replaced by anxiety and uncertainty. The Kremlin faced a new, uncomfortable reality, one where their own supply lines and strongholds could be struck at any moment. Analysts around the world dissected the operation. How did Ukraine get drones that far? What new technology or tactics had they unveiled? What intelligence made it possible? How had Ukraine penetrated Russian defenses so deeply and so suddenly? Iran's role as Russia's arms supplier was thrust into the spotlight, raising new questions about the regional balance of power and the risks of escalation. The attack on the Yakutsk was more than a headline. It was a turning point, a signal that the war's boundaries had shifted. Ukraine had demonstrated resolve, innovation, and a willingness to strike where it hurt most, sending a message that no target was out of reach. The war had entered a new, unpredictable phase, with both sides forced to rethink their strategies and anticipate the unexpected. The world watched, waiting for Russia's next move, as uncertainty and tension rippled across capitals and command centers. The message was clear: the old rules no longer applied, and the conflict had entered uncharted waters. The Caspian was no longer a sanctuary. It had become a symbol of vulnerability, and a warning to all who thought themselves untouchable. In the pre-dawn darkness, deep inside Ukrainian territory, a sense of anticipation hung in the air. The silence was broken only by the soft shuffle of boots and the distant hum of generators, as the base came alive with purpose. A team of elite operators, handpicked for their skill and resolve, prepared for a mission that had been months in the making. Every movement was deliberate, every gesture practiced, as they checked and rechecked their gear, knowing the stakes could not be higher. 14 long-range drones, each meticulously loaded with custom explosives, sat ready on a hidden airfield. Their engines were silent, but the potential for destruction was immense. These weren't hobbyist quadcopters. They were advanced machines engineered for stealth, range, and maximum destruction. Each drone represented the cutting edge of Ukrainian ingenuity and determination. The mission was codenamed Operation Neptune's Trident, a name chosen to reflect both the audacity and the precision required for success. The drones would fly low and fast, hugging the terrain to avoid detection, evading Russian air defenses, and relying on preloaded maps to navigate through electronic jamming. Every second of their journey had been planned in painstaking detail. The target was a Russian supply ship, anchored over 700 miles away in Astrakhan, a port Russia considered untouchable, far from the front lines, and supposedly safe from attack. Russian defenses were focused elsewhere, leaving the Caspian coastline exposed and vulnerable, a gap in their armor that Ukraine was ready to exploit. Ukrainian planners had mapped every radar blind spot, every patrol schedule, and every possible route. Their intelligence teams worked tirelessly, analyzing surveillance data to ensure the mission's success. At precisely 4:12 a.m., the first drone lifted off, its lights vanishing into the darkness, followed in quick succession by the rest. One by one, they disappeared into the night sky, beginning their long journey. On the ground, the command team watched in tense silence, eyes glued to monitors, every heartbeat echoing the uncertainty of what was to come. The drones were now fully autonomous, flying in formation toward their destiny, guided only by their programming and the hopes of those who launched them. The fate of a critical Russian supply line, and perhaps the course of the war itself, rested on their wings. Every second brought them closer to their target, and to history. This was a high-stakes gamble, a daring strike that could change everything. The operation was now fully underway, with no turning back. Ukraine was about to test the limits of Russian complacency, showing the world just how far they were willing to go for victory. The world would soon see the results as the eyes of nations turned to the unfolding drama in the Caspian. Operation Neptune's Trident began not on the runway, but in Ukraine's intelligence rooms. The question, how was Russia sustaining its drone and missile attacks despite sanctions? The answer pointed to Iran. Ukraine and its allies turned their satellites and surveillance on the Caspian Sea. Analysts tracked suspicious ships, especially the Oktyabinsk, making guarded trips from Iran to Russia. Signals intelligence intercepted coded naval chatter, revealing when security was lax. Human sources confirmed the Oktyabinsk's cargo crates matching Iranian drone and rocket components. The evidence was overwhelming. Ukraine knew the ship, its route, and its deadly cargo. All that remained was to strike at the perfect moment. The trap was set. The Oktyabinsk was now a marked target. The Oktyabinsk looked like any aging cargo ship, but it was a floating arsenal. Its holds were packed with thousands of drone kits, rocket artillery, and advanced electronics, enough to fuel Russia's war for months. Intelligence confirmed at least 2,000 Shahed-type drone kits and hundreds of Grad rockets were on board. The ship's security relied on the Caspian's supposed invincibility. Guards patrolled, but no one expected an aerial strike from hundreds of miles away. The Oktyabinsk was a lifeline for Russia's war machine. Its destruction would cripple Russian logistics and firepower. Each crate represented a future attack on Ukraine. The psychological armor of invulnerability was its greatest weakness. The stakes couldn't be higher. The Oktyabinsk's final voyage would be its last. As dawn neared, 14 Ukrainian drones skimmed low over the Caspian, invisible to Russian radar. Their engines hummed in unison, a mechanical orchestra moving with silent precision across the water's surface, undetected and relentless in their approach. The lead drone, equipped with advanced optics, identified the Oktyabinsk at its dock, confirming the target with chilling accuracy. Every movement was calculated, every second counted. Each drone was assigned a precise impact point: waterline, cargo holds, bridge, engine room. The plan was meticulous, designed to cripple the ship's vital systems and ensure maximum destruction. At 5:30 a.m., the first drone struck the bow, tearing open the hull with a thunderous blast that shattered the morning calm. Seconds later, another drone slammed into the engine room, sending black smoke skyward and plunging the ship into chaos. The rest followed in rapid succession, triggering catastrophic explosions in the cargo holds. Flames erupted, consuming everything in their path. The attack was a choreographed assault, not a random barrage. Each strike landed with deadly intent, a testament to the precision of modern warfare. Secondary blasts from munitions turned the ship into a firestorm, lighting up the dawn sky and sending shockwaves through the port. Water rushed in through breached compartments. The Oktyabinsk began to list, its fate sealed as the sea claimed its wounded hull. In less than 90 seconds, the ship was mortally wounded, its structure failing under the relentless assault. The port echoed with the sound of twisting metal and detonating rockets. Panic and confusion spread as the scale of destruction became clear. The drones had delivered a fatal blow, retreating into the dawn as the Oktyabinsk burned and sank behind them. It was a display of technological and tactical brilliance. The Oktyabinsk was doomed, a casualty of innovation and strategy. The Caspian would never be the same. The echoes of this assault would linger, a stark reminder of the new era of warfare. The port of Astrakhan erupted in chaos as explosions shattered the dawn. The Oktyabinsk's holds became a volcano of fire and shrapnel. Crew and guards scrambled on the tilting decks, communications lost. Russian emergency services were overwhelmed. Fireboats could only watch from a distance. The ship groaned and listed, water flooding in. Rescue attempts were frantic and disorganized. Within an hour, the Oktyabinsk rolled onto its side and slipped beneath the surface. The wreck blocked a key shipping channel, contaminating the water with oil and munitions. Salvage would be dangerous and complex. Russia's priority shifted to hiding evidence, but it was too late. The message was clear: nowhere was safe. In the aftermath, Astrakhan was a scene of panic and devastation. Oil slicks and debris, charred crates, drone fragments, washed ashore. Russia claimed a technical fire, but the evidence told another story. Ukraine released satellite images and intercepted Russian communications, exposing the truth. Social media filled with photos of Iranian drone parts and a burned shipping manifest in Cyrillic and Farsi. The proof was irrefutable. Iran and Russia were caught red-handed. The Akhtubinsk was, now, a crime scene. Russian divers scrambled to recover sensitive materials, but the world had already seen the evidence. The strike was a military and intelligence victory for Ukraine. The Caspian secrets were exposed. The narrative had changed forever. The loss of the Akhtubinsk sent shockwaves through Russia's military and economy. Thousands of drone components and rockets were lost, crippling Russia's arsenal. Drone and rocket attacks on Ukraine dropped sharply. The logistics pipeline was disrupted for months. The financial costs soared. Hardware lost, salvage and cleanup mounting, trade disrupted. Insurance premiums for Caspian shipping skyrocketed, but the deepest wound was psychological. The myth of Russian invincibility in the Caspian was shattered. Every port and depot was now a potential target. Russian morale and confidence plummeted. Ukraine had proven it could strike anywhere. The Astrakhan strike triggered global repercussions. Russia and Iran's denials collapsed under irrefutable evidence. Western nations threatened new sanctions on Tehran. Caspian neighbors grew uneasy as the region became a war zone. Shipping insurers declared the area high risk. Trade ground to a halt. Russia's once reliable supply route was now a dangerous gamble. Operation Neptune's Trident marked the end of Russia's sanctuary. Ukraine's long-range reach forced Moscow to rethink its strategy. The battlefield had expanded. No part of Russia was truly safe. The illusion of a secure Russian rear was gone, sunk to the bottom of the Caspian Sea.